Hello and welcome to the webinar today, where I'll be covering the topic of data protection and the increasing threats to schools. I hope you'll be able to glean the key points I will raise. Some of them may well resonate with you, and why it's absolutely vital that data management and protection is at the very top of your list. My name is Ron, and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Redstor, and Redstor have been working closely with the SBS for over 10 years to provide a secure and robust data management service to the education market. Firstly, I wanted to cover how we are now seeing the proliferation of data in the education space. Data is exploding and is very much intrinsically valuable to educational organisations. Some of the stats on the slide demonstrate this. We're now living in a data-driven digital world, and we're consuming more and more data on a daily basis. Even in our personal lives, how dependent have we become on aspects such as web-based services, social media apps, and TV streaming services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime? We also expect this data on demand. This data splurge presents a challenge to schools to ensure they're managing and protecting this data effectively. 90% of the world's data was generated in the last 2 years, and that statistic really sums up where we now are. By 2025, IDC predicts the data sphere will be 175 zettabytes. In 2018, that figure was 33 zettabytes. 1 zettabyte is equivalent to 1 million petabytes, which in turn is equivalent to approximately 250 billion DVDs, so absolutely staggering. These are some of the biggest challenges in schools we see today. 2018 was the year of ransomware. Ransomware has been the biggest threat to schools from a cybersecurity perspective. The key question here is how confident are you that you can successfully recover your data in the event of a ransomware incident? The impacts of not doing so can result in severe disruption. There's been a 100% increase in attacks from 2017 to 2018. 2017 also saw an increase of 350% in the different variants and strains of ransomware, so very scary stuff indeed. I mentioned previously that data is more intrinsically valuable. The key challenge here is how to access and secure this data. The biggest data regulation to hit the UK, GDPR. The GDPR directive is placing greater pressure than ever on schools now. A big challenge here is gaining full visibility and access to critical data. Downtime. Being without access to systems and data, how long could you afford to be down? Using inadequate legacy technology, backup tapes, hard drives as an example. This is still a big problem as it poses a real threat to schools where there is a high degree of manual intervention and human error. How much time is actually spent managing such legacy technology, and what is the monetary cost associated with doing this? And the big one, lack of budget. Schools all face the challenge of doing more with less, but more quickly. Specifically, they need to manage more data and more systems and cloud services without the IT budgets available to commercial organisations. Unpredictable costs can quickly spiral out of control. Unfortunately, schools are a big target for cyber criminals and will be targeted on numerous occasions due to the nature of the sensitive data that is held. Schools are seen as easy targets, and paying a ransomware demand once will mean that you're targeted again and again. And a key point here is that paying a ransom won't actually guarantee you'll get your data back. What would the cost be to your schools if staff and student data was lost? How quickly could you recover if you suffered a major server crash or data loss? Are you confident, or are you keeping your fingers crossed for the best outcome? Personal identifiable information falling into the wrong hands is a total disaster. Some of the aspects to be aware of to safeguard against data loss include being vigilant, so keeping an eye out for any suspicious looking emails and hyperlinks, having stringent measures to recover data, not placing a reliance on legacy technology to save the day, and ultimately it really boils down to having a robust data protection mechanism in place, ideally off-site and fully encrypted. For us, it's not about the backing up of data, it's absolutely all about the recovery. We see backup as more onboarding of data and getting it onto our platforms, going one step further, the recovery being instant. Once the data is onboarded, it's then giving you the ability to do something meaningful with that data. Data recovery is absolutely critical to ensure your school is up and running as quickly as possible with next to no disruption. Some of the key benefits of being able to recover data instantly include protection against site loss, ongoing access to your data, avoid getting your school in the headlines for fines and compliance issues, and recovery of your data from a cyber attack such as ransomware. Now, one of our key components to the service is the instant data functionality. This allows instant access to your data in the event of a disaster recovery scenario. Rather than having to wait for all of your data to be restored, instant data prioritises what is required and provides a rapid recovery of that specific data set. So working with SBS and Redstor, you're able to eliminate the various risks and challenges I've covered during this webinar. We're working to make our schools' lives secure, smarter and simpler. Ultimately, it boils down to being able to discover, manage and protect your data. That's really the Redstor ethos. And this slide really demonstrates our own ecosystem and integrations, and more importantly, how Redstor helps schools to achieve complete visibility and management of their data, as well as the direction we're heading by integrating with the leading hyperscale cloud vendors such as Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services. In addition, we've launched the ability to back up and protect Office 365 data, both OneDrive and SharePoint, and Exchange Online will follow in the next month or two. Together, SBS and Redstor, we provide a secure, bespoke end-to-end service for creating user-friendly school and MAT intranets using Office 365 SharePoint. And Redstor's backup is a further USP alongside this. So in summary, we've helped schools nationwide to give peace of mind that they're working with a safe pair of hands and that they can get access to their data on demand. So that brings us to the conclusion of today's session. I'd like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you for listening to this webinar today. I do hope it was useful and gave you some insight into how we're helping schools address their data management challenges, but more importantly, identifying the key risks to your critical data. Please do not hesitate to contact the team at SBS using the contact details on this slide for any further information and/or questions that you may have. And also, please visit SBS's top tips for e-safety and digital safeguarding via their website, and the URL is also on the slide here. Thank you again.